People born before 1990, what trivial skill do you possess that no one uses anymore?
I can cover a textbook with a brown paper bag.
I was so good that kids at school asked me to do theirs. I also put scotch tape along the bindings so that sweaty hands wouldn't wear through the craft paper prematurely. Nerd.
Here in my country, we had a local company make payphones but to keep in local neighborhood grocery shops. They were a regular house phone, tone, with a box which activated your voice as soon as you inserted a coin. It was very DIY-ish but very clever too. Well, we at our school were clever because we found out that if you unplugged the handset and licked or got the plug wet with whatever liquid, you didn't need to use a coin. Free calls.
Ah, the good old days, when you could lick a phone plug and not worry about catching 4 kinds of diseases.
I mean, you still caught the diseases, you just didn't worry about it.
I was a videotaping from TV Master. My anticipation of the end of commercial breaks was amazing, especially since you had to start the recording just a moment prior to having a cue that the show was coming back. Of course, I was always screwed by those random late-night news commercials and the random extra-long pauses.
Crash start a manual car by rolling down a hill in second gear with the ignition on, then popping the clutch. Cars were not so reliable back in the day. Edit, push starting, also known as bump starting, roll starting, clutch starting, popping the clutch or crash starting. According to Wikipedia, we called it crash starting where I'm from, but lots of different names for it.
I had a great uncle who built a hill and parked his tractor on it for this very reason.
I could draw out nearly the entire original Legend of Zelda map from memory. Or at least enough to get to every dungeon, heart, and item.
Ripping the sides off printer paper without ruining it.
So satisfying.
I can tell time on an analog clock.
Which?
Close, it's pronounced watch.
A few. How to drive a manual transmission. How to remember phone numbers in my head. How to untangle, manually wind and repair cassette tape. How to plan a cross-country trip using nothing more than a Rand McNally road atlas and a highlighter. How to program in BASIC. How many dimes to place on a record needle to prevent skipping. How to change my own oil, tire, belts, alternator, starter, or transmission. On a cathode ray tube TV, how to set vertical and horizontal controls, fine-tune the channel using the ring around the channel knob, and how to fashion a wire coat hanger into a VHF antenna.
Remembering phone numbers.
Not only that, having to speak to your friend's parents for a few minutes when you call their house.
How to take a message when the person they want to talk to isn't there.
I remember the numbers for every house I lived in growing up, the phone numbers of the houses of my best friends from 7th grade and before, my grandma, and my first cell phone number. I've been married nearly 5 years and have no idea what my wife's phone number is.